Okay, last minute wild camp. Not very well prepared for this one, so just came out, spent most of the afternoon getting prepared for it. So losing sunlight pretty rapidly. It's about 10 minutes to 4 now. Was gonna camp in this area. I have recce'd this place out before. Came here now for the first time after the heavy rains, and it's quite boggy, so it's gonna be quite cold in that section. It's a perfect place during dry weather. So moving over to this side, gonna be setting up camp over there. Might have to nip a few branches off of that, I think it's a hawthorn. Clear out the area a bit, and then just stick the tarp down and get everything set up. I got for myself 4 cans of ale to trial out, and crack into some of them now because quickly losing the sunlight. Want to get firewood, get everything set up quickly. I'll just set up the main thing, is just like the tent, clear the area so I have a place to walk through, head torch on and can walk around. I want to recce the area out just in case there's a rough sleeper around here I don't want to run into in the middle of the night, whatever, you know. So tent up, head torch on just in case, axe in one pocket. I brought the carving axe today. I didn't bother with the trekker because I knew I wasn't going to get here like early enough, so just decided, yeah, that's what I'm going to try out, and brought a carving spoon as well, a spoon carving knife. So I'll see what I can do. I'm not one of you guys with a smartphone who sits up all night watching YouTube and crap. I don't bring a phone. Well, I do, but I switch it off and that's it. Phone off, done. It's there for emergency and that's it. And it's not even a smartphone. Alright, let's get cracking. This camera doesn't do very well with low light, so let me just switch off for now. Right, so these are the IPAs I'll be trialing out during this solo overnighter. Easy IPA, this comes from the US. Eternal Session IPA from Northern Monk in the UK. Stone IPA from Germany. And then Piston Head from Brutal Brewing in Sweden. I've had their copper canned amber lager, and that stuff was seriously good. Give that a try. It's probably the best I've tried so far. I've started trying out IPAs. There we have it. I'm probably going to crack off into this one first. The Germans. Giving it a whiff. I don't know what I can smell there. Basically, I do have a runny nose, so probably the smelling part of enjoying IPAs this session is not going to work very well. Anyway, taste is the final one, isn't it? It goes down pretty nice actually. I kind of dig that. There's my Mora. I don't need to hang it on the side, so all I do is run in through there, that through there. It does stay on whenever I need it. Comes out. When I put it back in, put my finger there just to safely try and guide it. Thumb on this side, guide it in, slide it. Don't ever put your finger under here, it's easy to do. When you slide it out, if you really need to hold it at the front. Pull it out that way. I made the mistake of sliding it out, my finger under there, didn't realize and got sliced. So basically, before I crack on to another beer and stuff, I can still see pretty well. I'm pretty sure it's really dark on the camera. I'm just gonna get my gear like towards my tent, get the Laplander saw, just head out. There's some oak trees further down, basically that direction, 150 meters or so. So I'm gonna try and get some seasoned oak. Everything else in here, it's an ancient woodland, so everything else in here is like fallen but rotting. You know, I sawed a few pieces off a few minutes ago. Like this. It's almost like sponge inside, so sure it might burn, but you know, really short time. So I got stuff to cook tonight, got stuff to cook tomorrow. It's gonna be a nice little session. It's like almost Christmas. We just went past solstice basically yesterday, I think it was, the day before. And anyway, I'm wearing a t-shirt right now. I did get a bit hot coming in because I know the weather isn't going to be that cold, but I just brought extra stuff anyway, and I was wearing some of it. So the cycle in plus the cracking through all the woodlands get into this particular part made me super sweaty. So I could probably get the thin hoodie on now, but I really need to go get some wood. It's 4:45. This is about the same time as I arrived, or at least was halfway here when I had my first wild camp in this woodland. I just got back from trying to find those oak trees, and I found them, but they're pretty huge, and then whatever branches are hanging low that were kind of rotting, getting old, I jumped up and grabbed, smacked them, see if they can fall down. Whatever fell down has been rotting for years and years, so I got back a couple items. I'm not even going to try to film them because it's just that dark. I've got a head torch, but I'll save that for when we're in the tent. Anyway, so the oak is a no-go. I'm just gonna have to like walk around my immediate vicinity and just basically pick off bits from hawthorns and stuff and have kind of like a really small fire tonight. I do have one piece of oak that was lying on the ground, so I'm gonna try and bit on that and see if I can get to a center which is like a bit more solid, and we might be able to get some hotter fires going. If not, it's like up and down with lots of little twigs and stuff and sticks that I'm finding here and there. Lesson learned, get here. I mean, I got here just after 3. I probably should have come here like 2:30 or something. That would have given me a good time to get things going. Not going to crack on into the second ale now. I think I'd rather just try to get the fire going, then we can take a look at that. Camp is mostly set up. Haven't got a whole lot to do now. Just get the fire going, get dinner going. It's now... Okay, my watch says 5:09, but a little tip. So since the temperatures are like quite high, this is my old Tom Shoe cup. It's the 420ml cup you can get on eBay for like I don't know, 12 pounds or something. Anyway, I'm going to use it as a fridge. So I got some mushrooms for tomorrow's breakfast. I'm just going to throw water in there, and obviously as the temperatures drop at night, plus the water is kind of cold, so obviously if you have a stream nearby, I have a stream not far away, just going to be a pain in the ass to walk through there now. So just a bit of water, and just to prevent myself from getting sick from rotting mushrooms, I've got these mushrooms in this bag here. So you chuck it in there, and then they'll just stay kind of near the door just overnight, and then hopefully that'll keep them cool, you know, prevent them from getting a bit of fungus growing on them. So food's almost ready. tonight I've got pasta. I'm going to cook some pasta, and then I've got an old stew that I made that's been chilling in my freezer for about a month or two. I forgot what meat it's got in there, whether it has meat or I'm not too sure, but it's called a curried banana pot. It's meant to be made in a Dutch oven, or a what we call in my country a potjie pot. And yeah, so that's busy heating up here, and they're just warming up. And then here's just the water in the zebra can. That's just for the pasta to cook in. Once the pasta's done, I'm just going to mix the stew curry thing onto the top of that. And then I've got some bannock I'm going to make. That's for my dessert. So that bannock has a bit of cooked chestnuts, extra sugar in it, some milk powder, and then I've got honey as well. That's going to be kind of my dessert going on there. And I've been ignoring the beers, so this is what I'm going to get into now. Got two more after this. Easy IPA by Flying Dog Brewery, I think out of New York. Multitasking right now. First swig, tastes really good. So I'd say I'm gonna put this in my top 5 of what I've had so far. It goes down pretty well. There's some interesting flavors there. I need to read the can properly. Two down, 2 to go. Gonna dig into my food in a minute, so I thought I'd just have one more before I end up having my dinner. And yeah, so it's a difficult decision whether it's Northern Monk or the Piston Head. Piston Head, Northern Monk. I'll save one for the morning. I've got a feeling it's going to be Piston Head for the morning and Northern Monk for tonight. There's a slug attracted to the IPA. He went for the American one. Slugs approve. Bannock had a total failure mixing it up. Too much water. Having to take some flour from tomorrow's bannock over to make it a bit not as wet, a bit more dense. And the food is in this pot over here. Just Alright, so just a quick chat about what's going on. It's been raining since 4 o'clock in the morning, somewhere around there. It's just got 9 o'clock now. The thing about these Polish army tents, these teepees, is they're so dark inside that even though it's like this outside, you just have no clue. So the canvas is held out really well. Let me switch on my Jumbo Jet light. The canvas is held out really well. There's a few little marks here and there where it's slightly damp. On the canvas surface itself, from the inside, you can feel feels like condensation. It's hard to tell if that's from breathing or if that's from the water, because it's been raining. The dampness at the moment, the humidity that we have,
although the thing is, suspicion wise, as to why it may be from breathing, is because when I grabbed my lantern this morning to switch it on, the housing of that had condensation on it. I mean, it is metal. The poles here did not have condensation on them, so it's really hard to say. Water penetration, there's been basically almost nothing. The seams on that, if you can see it, on that opening over there, the button opening, the seams on that one show a little bit of water penetration, but I don't think there's anything dripping off of there. This one shows nothing. And then along the buttoned up side on that side, there's absolutely nothing. That's the side that I keep closed at all times. So when I have the tent packed away, that's 100% always buttoned up, that one. And I took it apart once too when I did my steak challenge video. So I divided the teepee into half and had a half shelter. Then on this side, there was penetration. So along here, every second button for some reason had water dripping through it. Not really dripping, but it also is. When I set up the tent yesterday afternoon, I didn't measure it out properly. So basically, when you put that side and that side together, it's really loose in the middle. So even though inside I put a tent peg in and make it quite solid, that half and that half is kind of like sagging down a bit, so it was quite loose. So yeah, in a way it could be that the water's not running off as fast as it should be on a proper angled edge like that. But as you can see, water's kind of mostly beading off, which is pretty cool. But then in other places you can see it's kind of absorbing. So definitely this tent is going to be quite a lot heavier taking home today, but that's not a negative thing. This is still my favorite thing to use for camping, I think. Weather wise, I don't know what time this is going to finish. Basically I did check the weather yesterday and it said there's like a 20% chance of rain for quite a while. It does feel like the rain has stopped. It's probably just all the droplets falling off of the trees that makes me feel like it's still raining right now. I'm underneath a couple hawthorns. Over there is one of those trees that I'm assuming is a type of willow. I don't know what tree that is over there, that's quite magnificent. That's kind of like the height of the trees in this place. Estimation, maybe 20 meters high. Yeah, hard to tell the species. And yeah, that's kind of how the biggest trees in this woodland, they're about that tall. There's a few massive ones over there that I'm assuming is maybe 27 to 30 meters high. From here I can't tell what it is. I don't think it's an oak. The oaks, wait, well there's something over there that's massive. Hard to see through there, but those kind of like in the way background over there, easier to see by the eye. There's a huge oak, and that's like, that to me is looking about 40 meters high. So last night had an open fire, went pretty well. Started off really well. I had no problems, didn't die, had lots of embers. Obviously threw that wood over there as kind of like a little fire reflector, but mainly to dry it out for this morning. Totally didn't really trust that the weather was really going to rain, so I didn't put any of that inside the tent. So now obviously it's all soaked and I'm going to have to go and look for. The thing is, I don't know, do I not trust the British weather, and do I sort of just crack my last beer. I saved my piston head for this morning. Crack that. I'm definitely gonna have that now, but I am kind of looking forward to a coffee. And so for breakfast I've got 6 chipolata sausages. Then I've got 2 types of mushrooms. I've got shiitake and what's the other one? And just like typical button mushrooms, organic ones. I was gonna sort of cook them up in a pot, bit of oil, bit of salt and pepper, and then throw in maybe a few slices of one of the chipolatas to just kind of like add a bit of flavor in there. But I did find, I did find an elder that I always visit when I come here, and it's again full of the fungus wood ears or Jew's ears. In Asia they call it monkey's ears. Yeah, I did find that, so if I'm going to end up cooking breakfast, I will run over there quickly and harvest a few of those, slice them up and add them into the mushrooms. Absolutely fresh. The way I recommend to cook those, they taste a lot nicer, like the texture, is take them home, dry them for a little bit, to the point that they still have moisture inside, but they're kind of mostly, they're just not as jelly consistency. Then slice them up and cook them, and then just the texture is a lot better. I have no problem with the texture as they are now, but it's just better. That's pretty much it. Yesterday when I arrived, there was a this is the area that I'm going to be camping in. Just had to choose a preferred location, so when I was climbing through, I walked through here just to see, can I see any further locations there, and I got to, I don't know, I stepped into here, and then some kind of ground bird flew out. I couldn't identify it. It was somewhere like in there, or yeah. There's a bike carcass, there's another one just behind it. Been there for a while because they're mostly full of moss. That one's a lot more, sticking up a lot more, so yeah, I couldn't identify the bird, but it flew out pretty good up between the trees and over the top, and obviously went further down that way, landed somewhere. Bit of wildlife activity last night. You can see through there in the center, there's like basically the only birch that I've seen in this woodland. I'm gonna have a look at that later. So yeah, the main thing is take a look around, try get some decent wood to get something going. At least if I can, I'm not so hungry right now, so if I can at least get a coffee going, I'll be quite happy. I think last wild camp I didn't drink any coffee. I just had the beers, cracked a beer in the morning, and one thing I do recommend is drink your beer then eat your food. You do it the other way around, I don't know why, but I was having a heavy, like I was burping up the foam and it was just really weird. It was like annoyingly time consuming dealing with that while you're trying to enjoy a wild camp and film and all that stuff. Okay, so here we have it. I didn't have to go back to the elder, which I always walk past when I enter this woodland, or at least halfway through. I found a pretty much, this elder is completely dead. This is Sambucus nigra. I can tell that because basically all the bark is stripped. There's some bark, but it's also stripped over here. This is completely dead, so this fungus will consume this guy all year round for a few years until it collapses and just completely decomposes. There's quite a bit on here, which is quite nice. So I'm going to be harvesting that now, because obviously mycelium is growing inside the trunk, and then this is just the fruiting body. So this stuff's quite fresh. I'm quite happy that at this time of year it's pretty cold, that it's still coming out. This is a fungus which is known to be found all year round. I'm in southern England, so the temperature is really mild at the moment. Piston head for breakfast. This is the custom lager. The first one I had is the full amber lager, I think it was, and that comes in a copper can. I know I've said this before, and really good. So hopefully this one is the same thing for me. Typical lager smell. Custom brewed with a double clutch of Munchener malt and Pilsner malt injected with Spalter Select, Magnum and Pearl hops. Pearly. Don't know. Anyways, these guys are from, this is a Brutal Brewery, I think it is. Yeah. Brutal Brewing from Sweden. Let's get a taste. Sorry, camera's around my neck. That really is quite nice. A lot less towards an ale. It's definitely more towards a lager. I mean, it is a lager, but the other one that I had kind of went down really well and not tasted like an ale, but was leaning towards that, you know, craft brewing kind of vibe. But this goes down really, really well, so I would like this. So if I'm in the mood for a beer, that's it. I've got another one at home. So piston head in the UK, you can get it from Tesco, even the ones at the petrol stations, I think. Or is it? I don't know. It might have been Sainsbury's that I went to. Yeah. So I took a walk over there after checking fungi. I found a little spot down here with more. I found another dead elder. Sambucus elder, not the tree elder. So that was not full, but it had quite a lot of wood ears, monkey's ears, fungus, whatever you want to call it. Grabbed a few of those, so now I know, like, just in there somewhere. Plus I discovered that I'm really close to the edge of this woodland, which is divided by river to the other part of, I think it's still considered the same woodland, but that place is public access. So I'm quite close to that divider. So basically, I don't think so. I think that tall tree over there, in the center of the frame, not that one, but that one. It's difficult to see. It's actually quite a big tree. That's possibly still within my part of the woodland, but it could just be on the other side of the river. So if I'm ever camping in here, I just need to be a little bit more quiet, because the public are in that area a lot, dog walkers and stuff, but not as close to the river because the path deviates away. So I don't have to be that quiet, but it's probably best not to be hacking wood on a chop. If you have a chopping block and you've got your axe and you want to split the wood with the axe, you'd be making way too much noise. You just don't want to screw up what you have, so take care of the place that you have, and then you should be able to do it for a while. Clearly this time of year, so the soil here is clay. That's why my suspicion that all of these trees, like these, are willows. They love that kind of thing. They survive even though they've got loads of moss growing on them, which is causing a bit of rot, and kind of like what would look like canker, where you get splits and holes and stuff. These trees are fine with that, and then they fall down, hit the ground, spread out like that, probably rerouting underneath, sending up more. Yeah, this is pretty good. if you're into IPAs, ales and stuff, and you don't dig proper beer, give this a go. This might, at least this might make you want to try a lager out once in a while. My battery died while I was busy giving a chat about the beers, so I've crushed the cans, as you can see, and getting ready to head out. So I've made a new decision. Going to spend the next hour and a half. I'm going to pack up a bit, get my stuff ready to go. I'm going to spend the next hour and a half just having a look around. I want to have my bearings set in this place, so I want to be able to know if this is going to be my main camping location. How far is it exactly from the river? How far is it exactly from the next boundary, which then opens to some field? Just in case there's a time that I need to get out of here kind of quickly. Also, I'm using the same entrance to get in and out every single time, and what's happening is obviously leave no trace. So now coming on with a bike, I'm sort of leaving a trail through the meadow, and I don't want to do that. I don't want to have someone, whoever manages this land, to say, well, someone is coming here all the time. Obviously my trace disappears as soon as I enter this place, but there's a constant line of exactly how I enter, where I'm coming from, so decided to give up. I'm not going to go on I'm not going to have breakfast. I'll just cook that stuff when I get home. Kind of sad, I know, but just it's so damp, and I have nothing in the tent that is small kindling size. Like I've mentioned, this is an ancient woodland. Everything's rotting. There's very, very, very little. You'd spend half an hour to try and find something which is mostly dry, and it's almost impossible. So when you do find something, now that it's rained crazy all night long for quite a good few hours, like 5-6 hours or whatever it was, you're just gonna have a really hard time to light that. I have quite a lot of tinder, but still, it's just not strong enough to get something lit. Not much happening here right now. It's pretty quiet. Loads of birds here and there. I set my alarm really early at like 5:50, and then, which is kind of a useless thing because it was just coming down at that time really hard. I just went back to sleep. I set my alarm for like 7, I think, and I didn't hear it. Woke up quite a few times and just started like, let me check the time, and it was like 8 something. Wow, that's the thing about these tents, is so thick and so dark inside. You have no idea what the outside world is like till you open it up. I'm finally utilizing the pockets on the Pathfinder Canteen cook set a lot better. So on this pocket over here, I take my bag of wet wipes. For those of you in other countries that don't use that term, it's those like little tissue things, disposable tissue things that you use to wipe babies' butts. So I always carry a small little plastic bag with those in them, and it's always got like maybe 5 or so of them in there, per 24-hour camping trip, because I also reuse them. So like if I used one to wipe my hands last night before I made my bannock bread, before I mixed the bread and kneaded it with my hands, I'd keep it aside, and since it's still damp, I'm using to clean the pots in the morning. Anyway, so in here I've got one of my spice mixes. This is just Himalayan pink salt with cracked black pepper. I've got my opinel on this side. What I do is that little bag of wet wipes, I put it in there at the bottom, and I leave the top of the bag out. Then I put the salt in. Oh, and I've got a little lighter in here as well. Salt, opinel, and then I wrap the top of the bag over the opinel and stuff it back in there. Then I put the Velcro down. That way, because the opinel, I have lost it before. I found it again, but it came out the side over here. This container is quite tight, so I don't mind if I lose that, but I doubt I will. The opinel is just so easy to like fall out the one side.
Then on this side I've just got the 2 spices. I don't want to open that because it's really tight, but here I've just got, well, I've got my spice mix, which is just a whole bunch of things. There's so much stuff in there, I can't remember all of it. And then I've got a little thing of olive oil in a bag because it leaks a bit. So since this is the cook set, I may as well use it for all the stuff for food, basically. So food prep knife, spices, oils, and all that. Yeah, so with the Polish Army palatka or lavu, the way I like to have my thing set up, my sleeping situation, is the front of the tent I just leave empty. I just fold the tarp a little bit differently this time, but last time I was able to have a bit of tarp coming this way, so when my bag and everything was sitting there, there was a bit of space for for it to remain dry and off the ground. This time I just had it only for my bed and slightly over this side for the food and, you know, camera and stuff. Anyway, so sleeping bags away. That's just the wool blanket with the Highlander inflatable mattress, and then the cheapo reflective mattress. It's only 5mm thick, and then obviously the cheapo tarp. One thing that I always do bring along, so for example, I've got a couple of these stuff bags. These are British Army stuff bags. It's a bag that you shove junk in there and then you put it inside. It's like a bag liner, so you put that inside your main bag. I got 2 of these. One is mainly for my tent, and the other one I just bought as a spare. Then also I always make sure to bring thick plastic bag like this. This time it had my grill in it, and then when I'm not using it for my grill, I'm putting that on the ground, and I take my stuff bag over there and fill that with unused clothing and stuff, and I use that as a seat, and I put that on top of this to make sure that that doesn't absorb too much water. Other tip, keep hold of these. So some brewing companies sell cans in a 4-pack, and they come with these, and as I demonstrated last night, with 1 beer from New York, 1 beer from North England, 1 beer from Germany, 1 beer from Sweden, they all clip into this. So it's good to just be able to transport them around. This is from the Northern Monk I forgot. Eternal is the blue one. Anyway, Northern Monk fans will know which one I'm talking about. So regarding water resistance, waterproofness, I folded the tent over because I'm about to pack it away. That's internal and that's external. That's where the fire was. That's where the tent was. Other than me walking around there and shredding the leaves into that area, I can't really tell that someone was here. I'm not going to go and collect leaves off in an area where the leaf is loose just to pile onto here, simply because then you'll see empty gaps there and wonder what was going on there. So for me, knowing that this woodland, no one ever comes in here, and this is really, really deep into the back area, by the time anyone were to come through here, I think that'll have settled up and been kicked up by animals, birds and whatnot. And there's your leave no trace. All my rubbish is coming with me, that's part of it. All the cans are in one of my bags with my grill. It'll all be chucked away when I get home. It's gone 12 o'clock, I'm going to head out this direction, find another way out. I definitely want to go out the opposite way, plus the area that I normally cross into this area is a bit flooded today. So I almost saw my butt and went into a huge puddle, which would have been camping trip over, because that would have made everything wet. Alright, so look at what I found on my way in. It's so old and rotted that obviously the most of the metal is gone. I think it's brass normally at the back, but it just goes to show that even in a woodland that's semi-protected and left for wildlife, there still are people going out there and shooting game illegally. something tells me that if, for example, the council had people coming in here for some reason needing to cull, I think they would have lifted up, picked up all of their shells. They would never left any shells behind. So this must have been a really, really long time ago that somebody came in years ago and was shooting the wildfowl. This is quickly turning into like a wild camp slash harvesting mission, food foraging mission, because you can see there in the center of the frame that elder, which hard to tell if it's still alive. It has lots of bark. I think it is still alive. It's pretty covered in the fungus. And then swing over here, just found this guy lying here as well, same thing. So it looks like I'm going to get a whole bunch of that before I head out.